The Bachelor of Business Administration information session. It's lovely to have you all with us this evening. I am Julia Ross. I'm going to be one of your panel members this evening, and I'm going to hand over to the rest of the lovely faces that you see here to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Julia. I'm Maritza Grewe, the head of school. I've done my doctorates in human resource management, so very passionate and excited about tonight to share my insights on the BBA HR. Thanks.
Hi everyone, and I'm Nombulelo. I'm one of the lecturers within the program. My area of focus specifically is marketing, and that's what I'm passionate about. And I can't wait to kind of unpack what marketing can do for you as a BBA student in our program and how it might fit you within the scope.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiangele and I'm a senior lecturer, and my focus is on public administration. I am currently doing my PhD in public administration with the focus on curriculum development. So I am looking forward to tonight's engagements, just to give you more insight in terms of how the public admin stream fits into, the BBA. And yeah, let's, I guess, keep the conversations going. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panel. And we have some polls that are going into the chat. And then also, if you have any questions at any point throughout the session, please post them in the chat and we will answer them either in chat or at the end of the session this evening. So first and foremost, we're going to get kick-started with a word from our head of school to let us know what MILPOC stands for and what the School of Commerce really stands for.
Thank you, Julia. So on the screen, you will see those 5 attributes that we intentionally put together so that we can say at the end of the day, when you leave as a graduate of MILPOC, these are the things that you leave with. So to start off, we put the human first. We put ethics first. Even though we have a digitally fluency throughout our module, it is important for us to put the person first in the way that we teach, to have that connections with our students, that engagement sessions with our students, even though we are, Julia, online institution. So that's very important for us to know that we see you. And then also within our assessments, our case studies, it is important that we understand that we are a diverse community, but that we put a South African inspired but globally relevant case studies forward, and we bring that forward in our assessments as well. And at the end of the day, it's also a critical skill to be a creative problem solver. So it is important for us to have all of our students to collaborate with one another, to learn from one another, and also even our lecturers to learn from our students. We are open to that, and we really come with a caring attitude to our lectures. And then obviously we want self-development and we want excellence within and service beyond. So we've got a team of support staff, our program managers and our academic administrators that is working very closely with our lecturers to make sure that the student journey is a wonderful one. Thanks, Julia.
Thanks, Maritza. And that's basically what we stand for. And you'll see that these graduate attributes, these are infused in our assessments, in our study materials, in our interactions between students and staff, and really between staff and students and students, because it's really important that we have these attributes throughout the learning journey. So thank you so much for explaining that. And the most important thing is, what makes a BBA unique? What makes a BBA different from a BCom, and what makes a BBA at MILPOC different from a BBA at any other institution. So there's a few key things to note is firstly, our BBAs are fully accredited. So these are NQF level 7 qualifications. They are as much of a degree as a BCom, and a BCom is as much of a degree as BBA. It's just that the focus is a little bit different. When you think BCom, you think quite analytical, whereas when you think BBA, we think more creative, solution driven. And we'll give you some of those examples as we look at the individual streams and the career options that stem from those streams. Within the BBA degree, you can specialize in 5 different majors. And we'll go through these in a little bit of detail and also give you guys a sneak peek at one of the brand new streams that we're offering from 2026. One of the very cool things about how the BBA is taught at Millpark is that it's taught in an immersive online environment. And towards the end of the presentation, we'll go through what that means. But most importantly, it means you're learning online, but you're not learning alone. There's somebody to guide you through the material step by step. There's those key interactive moments. There's a way to communicate with your online lecturer at any point. So immersive online is definitely a very, very cool aspect of learning a BBA degree at Millpark. And then our qualifications are all very practical because there's one thing that surpasses all else's skills. You can learn theory, but how you adapt the theory, how we make the theory work for us in 20 years' time comes down to skills, it comes down to application, it comes down to how industry linked a qualification is. And we take a lot of effort into making sure that throughout the learning journey, you're adaptable. You're able to use these skills. You're able to analyze legislation in 10 years' time when the legislation has changed. So that's a very important focus of our qualifications. And then with the BBA being fully accredited, it means you can go on to postgraduate studies, to honors, to then masters, to then your doctorate, because we really encourage lifelong learning at Millpark. It's so important that we're always open to learning and that we know that our qualifications will be able to give you that entryway to further qualifications and to further learning throughout your journey. So that is the BBA in a nutshell. But we're going to have a look at some of the specific streams within the BBA. Nombulelo, would you mind walking us through what streams are on offer?
All right, thanks, Julia. So let's talk about the different pathways that you kind of have within the BBA stream, right? So as Julia already mentioned, we've got 5 different majors within the program that you can take your pick from. So if we first start off, you can think about the general BBA. And basically, it's perfect if you want a broad understanding of the business world, especially looking towards being a business leader. So you'll touch on those key areas so that you can remain kind of versatile and adapt to those different opportunities that you'll be granted. And then we've got banking, and this pathway kind of dives into finance. And if you're someone that's wanting to go into the banking services industry, you see yourself within those industries, this is the perfect BBA program for you, right? And then we've got marketing. This is where I want to spend much time on because this is what I'm passionate about. So this is my area, and one thing that I take each and every single opportunity to remind students of is that marketing is so much more than the ads and the things that you see on social media. As a matter of fact, you're just scraping the surface of what it truly is. And within our program, that's the aim. We want to actually teach you what happens with a marketer, within the boardrooms, especially within the world of business, right? So real marketing is more about how do you understand people and consumers and organizations, and how do you deliver value to them. I talk about 3 key things when I talk to my students. It's all about creating value, whether it's in products or services, as well as how do you deliver that value within your distribution, all those other retailing options you have, as well as how do you then communicate that value. And that's where the promotional part kind of comes into play. So there's a lot of decisions that come into place if you're a marketer, more than just social media. It's a more strategic problem solving thing. And that's exactly why it's cemented within the BBA, right? So gives you that kind of broad perspective, even if you're a business leader within different kinds of contexts, whether you finance or whatever, but you have the confidence once you study marketing within the BBH stream to be able to walk into boardrooms and make those kinds of decisions that are marketing related. But more importantly, we also have the opportunity to connect you with industry through the partnerships that we have with the Marketing Association of South Africa, right? So it's very important for us to ensure that what we're teaching you is relevant for the industry, whichever pathway you would want as a marketer, to ensure that you are actually learning the skills and the knowledge that actual employers will actually seek. So that's the aim for us. So we're not just giving you study material, we actually want to equip you with those practical insights, right? So whether you're a budding business leader with marketing industry at Mill Park, we want to make sure that you learn what marketing is about from a creative as well as a strategic point of view, and not just execution, which is what you see on the surface. So it's very important that you can make an impact in whatever boardrooms you enter, right? So that's the space that I like, and I can't wait to see some of you in there. But of course, we also have another stream, because an organization is nothing without its people. So that's where human resource management kind of comes into play. So Maritza, do you want to come in here as our HR expert and tell us more about the HR pathway and what students can expect there?
Nombelela, it feels like competing with a marketer now. But yeah, you are excellent marketing lecturer, and students will be very fortunate to have you as a lecturer. Um, what is great about our HR management stream, it is endorsed with the South African Board of People Practices, and they are the national regulatory body that says this qualification that Millparks offers is credible, it's relevant, and this is what the industry needs. And I'm so proud to say that we have actually won the Best Training Provider award now in 2025. And subsequent to that, this is the 5th time that we are winning it. So our team is doing a great job there to ensure that we are keeping the standard where it should be. So happy about this HR stream, because we are not only teaching you about human resource information systems, we are bringing that digital transformation into all of our modules, so that you can speak with confidence when you are in the boardroom with the other EXCO members. This qualification is really for people who love to put people first, and who can see that they are assets to our company. And HR, Nombulelo, is similar to marketing. It is not just recruitment selection, it is labor law, it is training and development, it is your policies, it is much more than what people think, just the leave and application and the CCMA cases. So can't wait to meet the students there. Thank you, Mbelelo.
Thank you so much, Maritza. Now we've given you an all round of what you can essentially expect, whether it's HR, whether it's banking, whether it's finance, as an all-rounded business leader. But we don't just stop there. Now, starting in 2026, we're so excited to introduce a new pathway, and that is our Bachelor of Business Administration with the major in public administration. Now, Tia, with you as well as our public administration expert, I want you to come in here and please share with our up and coming students why this new pathway is such an exciting addition for somebody in the BBA and what they can look forward to within this stream.
Thank you so much, Nombulelo. It's very exciting to know that there's a new stream now in public administration, because typically public administration is isolated. So it's always a standalone. So we need to understand that public administration plus the private sector, there's an integration between the two. So it's actually very wonderful to know. And I'm going to explain how we all integrate as one. So with the public administration stream coming into play, we need to understand that We also promote critical thinking, problem solving. I mean, as Marita is explained, we're not just here to regurgitate what's in the textbook, but to actually see what is out there. I always like to say South Africa is a movie. Every day in the news, you hear something. So we gather case studies from what we see out there and actually solve those problems on a daily basis. So in this qualification, we've got modules such as, we introduce you to the foundations of what public administration entail. We've got policy management. There's also public financial accountability. So we really touch on different aspects and we look at macro and microeconomics just to see how they all link, as one. So it's quite great to see that we're not just out here to say, this is government, this is what is expected. We look at being the person, service delivery, the importance of service delivery. We look at policy, what actually governs us as a country as a whole, the stepping stone for what public administration is. Then we follow through with the implementation of what policy entails. So it's the design. So we walk you through the entire journey. So it's actually quite exciting and hoping that students will be more engaged with the public administration stream as well. Looking forward to talking to all of you students, and please feel free to ask us questions. As mentioned, our support structures are on point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tia, Nombulelo, and Maritza for giving us your insight and your passion in terms of the streams that you are really experts in. So it's lovely to hear from the experts themselves. And I think one very key feature of our BBA qualification is what, Tia, you just touched on, to say that these qualifications are not taught in isolation. You don't walk away only knowing about public administration or only knowing about HR. And I think, Maritza, you also mentioned it, to have that basic business acumen to be able to speak from an informed standpoint at the EXCO meeting, at the MANCO meeting, and whether you are studying to become the next chief people officer, the head of marketing, to lead government, no matter what you're studying, you need to be able to have those conversations with the other stakeholders. And that's why, along with these stream-specific modules, we have your business management, we have some business law, we have basic finance, we have those modules that are going to be able to, once you're in that room that this qualification is going to put you in, you're able to communicate with every single person in that room and understand what they're saying and contribute positively. Now, with that in mind, so what is this room that you're going to find yourselves in after obtaining this qualification? Maritza, would you mind sharing with us some of the career opportunities within the relevant fields, and where can a BBA put you?
Yes, sure. So these are just examples, I want to say, because if you think of these streams that we've mentioned, general, HR, marketing, public administration, these career options that you see are some of the career or the designations that you can go into, but the list can go on. So we've got business development manager in our banking stream. We've got marketing brand manager, your HR manager, education and training, learning, development, banking relationship manager. We have got Tia in your sector of public administration. We've got the public sector analyst and the development manager. So the list can go on and on. I think what is great about these qualifications, it just doesn't stop here. So the articulation within public sector, Tia, if you can help me, is?
Are you referring to the qualification in itself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the articulation from here, you can go into the postgraduate diploma in public administration, which is quite great because now we're thinking at a different NQF level. So it's more now strategic. So everything will have strategy behind it. We've got modules such as, your strategic management and governance. So basically what you've understood from the foundation we touch on the niche of it. So even the way we teach leadership, it's in a different level. So it is quite exciting. So it's great to know that, you can easily articulate to the PGDPA. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so it is with all of our qualifications, like you rightfully said at the beginning, Julia, that we offer that articulation up until doctorate level. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And yes, like Maritza has said, there's not an exhaustive list. I think the most important thing to understand about obtaining a qualification is that it's the foot in the door, and which door you go through and how you get there, how you climb the ladder, what more you study. There's so much flexibility after you've obtained your bachelor in business administration. But one thing that's really important, like I said earlier, is skills. So we've mentioned a couple of modules that you'll learn on the BBA, but what are some of the skills that you are learning to obtain throughout your studies? And Tia, would you mind walking us through some of these skills and how students are going to learn them?
Of course. So looking at these skills, it's looking at the qualification in its entirety. So it's not broken down to say when you understand HR, you only associate it to a certain skill. So we look at this holistically, and some of these skills, which I mean, there are more, but these are the ones that we have specifically touched on, which is leadership and management. So you can easily associate it to a specific module as well on the BBA. Then we've got your strategic thinking and problem solving. As we've mentioned, it's not about the regurgitation of information, but the application as well. We want to see how you think broadly. Then we've got financial and business acumen. We've got our HR, human resource and people management. We've got policy and governance insight, digital and business communication. And then, of course, one of the skills is entrepreneurial and innovation skills. So I'll just ask, maybe Nombulelo, is there anything that you would like to touch on in terms of skills from a marketing perspective?
Absolutely. I think very important skill that you need in marketing is creative thinking. Which is such an important, skill within this world that we're in. As much as we've got technology that's riding the wave and leading the way, we still need a human first touch, and that requires your novel creative thinking. Even with problem solving involved, but if you're not able to come up with novel solutions to a lot of the scenarios that you come across from a marketing standpoint of view, where you deal with a lot of brand case studies that you kind of need to attach to, or even in visual communication where you've got certain positions where you have to develop certain visual designs. It requires a lot of creative thinking that even if you can run it through AI or run it through your technology tools, you still need your assistance as a human individual. So I would say within that sector, marketing, creative thinking is the #1 top skill that we're kind of looking for.
Thank you, Nombulelo. Julia, is there anything that you would like to add on in terms of skills required for the BBA?
Thank you. I think Nombulelo touched on something really important, that you can use these fantastic systems, but you still need to be the person to prompt it, to generate something that the client, that the company really needs. And when we talk about digital and business communication, this digital fluency has been embedded throughout our modules, because I think a lot of people are quite nervous about the technology advancements and where's their place in this. And how we've approached these qualifications is to say, we know these amazing tools available, but we want to train the people who know how to use them to maximize efficiency, to maximize outputs, to be the creative problem solver, to be that digital transformation person within the marketing space, within the banking space, within the public administration space. So that's something that's been very important in terms of my focus of skills, is to make sure that we are creating future fit graduates who are going to succeed in the workplace for the next 30 years, and they're going to thrive there, and they're going to be able to lead the company into the next era of that company's efficiency and productivity. So that's a big one for me.
And I mean, just to add on as well, I think also another important thing we need to also look at is change management and adaptability. Like you mentioned, technology is advancing on a daily basis. So we also need to do due diligence and adjust to what we have. Yes, we are here as a guide to assist you as your lecturers to say, look, we can do it this way, we can do it this way. But at the end of the day, it's also about the implementation and as a student playing your part as well, just so that we are fit for the world of work. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tia. And I think one change that we've undergone now that we have all these amazing systems and a plethora of learning environments to choose from was that our qualifications are being offered immersive online. And I just want to walk you through what immersive online looks like. As a student starting in 2026, what is your virtual classroom going to look like? So the one important feature is that there's a balance between structured learning and flexibility. Because some people like to study at midnight and they'll answer all their discussion forums then. And some people are early birds, they want to wake up before work and quickly do some of their work. And some people are weekend workers. So, how we've structured our learning material is that within a week, you have certain goals, certain outputs to accomplish. But when you accomplish them and how you accomplish them is up to you. There's also a lot of interaction because learning online, much like working online, it can feel isolating unless you have those important touch points with your fellow students, with your lecturer. How can you interact with them? So we have a discussion board, we have a messaging feature, we have online classes, we have videos. You can meet us on Teams for a consultation. So that human element to know that, yes, you're learning online, but as soon as you don't understand a principle, reach out to us as lecturers. I mean, that's kind of what we live for, to be honest, is having consultations and discussing the thing that we're most passionate about with the students. So you have that ability to reach out at any point to have interactions with your lecturer, but also with your fellow students, to be able to see their insights, comment on it, and learn from one another, because peer learning is almost as important as learning from a lecturer. You want to be able to share what is your point of view on a specific topic and then what is their point of view. And that's where you really start to expand your learning. So immersive online, the other really great thing I can mention about it is that if you're a self-studier and you're somebody who wants to get the textbook and you want to learn it, sometimes a problem with that can be that a textbook only says something in one way. Whereas if you attend class and your lecturer mentions it another way and they give you a couple of examples, that's a really important feature of learning. So how we've designed our study material is that when you're reading it, you should feel like you're in a classroom. You should feel like I'm there explaining to you every element of a contract and how it works in this way and how it works in that way. And Nombulelo is there right by your side, even though you're reading the material. And that's one thing that is super, super important, is that you feel like somebody is taking you step by step through every aspect, that by the time you end a module, you understand it holistically. You understand how it fits in with your other modules. So I'm very excited about joining you for immersive online learning next year. I think it's an incredible learning experience and probably the best way to learn online. But most importantly now, oh yes, please ask me a question.
Yeah, let's quickly deal with Donovan's question there. How does the DLO, what we know as distance learning online, really differ from immersive online?
That is
So
an excellent question.
yeah, so we've got our live classes that we have throughout our 8 or 10 weeks, and we have intentionally rebuild our learner management platform where we engage much more with students and have more interactions with students, and it is just that next level up from distance learning online. Perhaps you want to add to that still, Julia?
Thank you. I think the other thing that's changed is the structure. So there's a lot more interaction in terms of the type of assessments you do. So there's a lot more flexibility in terms of the type of assessments you do. It differs from the traditional tests and assignments. And we look at journaling and we look at reflections and we look at, you know, asynchronous time tests. And that aspect of it is very much different and really, really awesome. And then I also see that Donovan asked about subjects changing. And that's also a very exciting question. So with any institution, a university, higher education, you need to review your modules. And we review our modules to make sure that it's still up to scratch with where is the industry currently requiring people to join. Where has the environment moved to? We know there's been drastic shifts in the working environment since everybody has started using AI. So to ensure that your modules are still current, that they're still working towards a goal that is going to create future fit graduates, institutions go through reviews. So we've been doing a review process at the moment, and I must say the modules that are going to be starting in 2026 are fantastic. So this is a really great time to start your BBA qualification because you're going to be the first to see really future fit modules and future fit ideas and case studies. So that's the reason for a change that you may have noticed. And then I see we have another question. I don't know, Maritza, if you want to answer this, but what platform would you suggest for students who are working full-time?
Great. So our first year, the BBA students, all modules will be on immersive online. So yes, that is the mode of delivery available to our first year students.
Thank you. And I think it works well for working online because you know what you need to achieve that week and you are prompted to achieve it that week. Because what can often happen if you're working and studying at the same time, and I know pretty much everyone in the panel has done that, is that you can sometimes get caught up in your job and your family and everything else, and then you try and cram everything just before the exam, and then it doesn't always lead to much success. So it's structured in such a way that it's manageable, that you can achieve your weekly goals while having a full-time job, a full-time life, and still meet your goals and your bigger graduation goals at the same time. Thank you so much, guys, for the questions. I think we have wrapped up. We've answered a couple of really good questions. Thank you so much to the panel members. Are there any last words of inspiration, motivation, comfort that you'd like to give our 2026 students?
I think the BBA qualification for me is really a launch pad for leadership, innovation, and impact. So leadership, innovation, and impact. So I am looking forward to seeing the second year and third year students again, and also welcoming those first year students. Thank you, panel.
I'd just like to add as well. I think, with studying, it seems like it's a lot, but it's actually very doable. I think also the way we've structured our qualifications, we're realistic as well, because like Julia said, there's a lot of balancing that has to happen. You've got families, you've got work, and then you've got your studies. So we try and we pace ourselves, but looking forward to 2026 and what 2026 brings. Good luck to all of you. And remember, we are there for you. We will hold your hand and guide you properly. So all the best.
Thank you so much. And I think that is the most important aspect for us, is that there's a human at the end of your screen. And Nombulelo, you've been the human at the end of the screen as well. Do you have any final words for our students for 2026?
No final words as such. I just want to say that them studying the BBA is going to be the best decision of their career. I think that's the best thing. Like Tia said, it's designed in a very realistic way for your career goals. So it is speaking directly to what you would need to thrive in that specific, whether you're in HR, whether you're in banking, marketing, even in the general space. So that's the aim right there. But all the best and make the wise decision being come here.
Thank you so much, Nombulelo. And you've reminded me of a quote that I'd like to wrap this session up with this evening, is that studying is the only thing that you can buy with money that makes you a richer person. So we hope to all see you next year. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to us. You can post in the chat. We'll get an answer to you. And we look forward to seeing you next year in BBA. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Bye, everyone.